Hello, everyone. I'm Josh Ochs, and welcome to the smartsocial.com podcast, where we teach your kids how to be safe on social media and then how to be positive and happy. We have a whole mental health area, and then how to shine online. Today, we're going to talk a lot about mental health with the most important topic. You know, we give our kids these Ferraris, these devices. I'm holding up my iPhone 8 Plus because I don't want to spend $14,000 on the new 11 or whatever it costs. But we give them these Ferraris, it's a lot like a car when you give your kids these phones. Somebody's dialing me right now on my Ferrari and literally live. But what I want to talk to you about today is how do we make sure that they know how to drive these safely and how to put them down. And that's why we have an awesome guest here today for you. We have Andrea Davis. She's coming at us live from Oregon, the state of Oregon, and she is the founder of betterscreentime.com, betterscreentime.com. There's links below. We're going to show you her website. Andrea, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Josh. I'm super excited to be here.
Well, I'm honored to have you here. And tell us just really quickly a little bit about your background.
Yes. So I am a mother. Primarily, I'm a mother of 5 children. So I have a teenager all the way down to my youngest just started kindergarten. And we have 4 girls, 1 boy. I have been staying at home with my kids for the past 15 years. My oldest is 15. But before that, I was a teacher. I actually taught middle school. And I know people are like, oh, middle school. I love middle schoolers. And I've spent quite a bit of time in the high school as well. But really, my passion is teaching. So I've taught everything from preschool swimming lessons to college level Spanish at Purdue. So my experience in teaching really ranges from subject to age. And, you know, as time has passed and I've been raising my kids, we really started out on a low tech, I guess we were a low tech family. We liked technology, but we kept our TV actually in a closet for a long time, for years and years. And we just pulled it out for things like the Olympics or, you know, special events, family movie night. And we've done that for years. But as time passed, we made this huge move from Illinois to Oregon. And at that time, my oldest was actually in middle school. And I didn't know a soul in this community. And I was worried about my daughter not knowing where to go. We were still trying to find housing. We were in temporary housing. So I gave her one of those Ferraris that you just held up, not really understanding what I was giving her. She's super responsible, good grades. I mean, just the epitome of like the oldest great child, right? And so I gave that to her, and it did not take long for me to realize that it was too much too soon and that we needed to take a step back. So we went back to one of those, I guess, Model T Ford, back to like a brick phone. And of course, she was not happy about that, but it was one of the best decisions I ever made. And as I started researching and looking, I wasn't finding all of the help that I needed. And I really wanted to find a parent who was in the trenches that could show me the way. Like, okay, how do we do this? When do we hand over a phone? And what's that process like? And so that's what brought me to Better Screen Time and just that passion for teaching. I did what any teacher would do. I just started reading a lot of books and researching and experimenting with my kids. And that's what led me to start Better Screen Time.
I love it. Well, that's really cool. A background in education, middle school nonetheless. I agree with you. Middle school is so much fun.
Yes.
Speaking to them, working with them, they're energetic. They laugh at your jokes, unlike
Yes.
high school.
Yes.
But they're smart enough, they're smart enough to understand the jokes and they laugh at them. But yeah, they're not too cool for school, which I love. That's really great. Well, I'm so honored you're doing this. Okay, we're going to dive in now. Before we do this, everybody that's listening right now, I want to give a shout out to those people who have reviewed our podcast. So anybody that's listening right now, if you haven't rated, subscribed, and reviewed, just a little bit about, Andrea and I are trying to save the world. We're trying to help people better understand how to not let this stuff take over their family. So I just want to read just a couple reviews. Love the mission. Josh's passion for these issues shines clearly through his helpful discussions on a really important topic facing us today. A great resource, College Scoop says, a great resource for parents. Josh is a leading expert in the field of social media. He provides parents with a wealth of resources to navigate social media in our digital world, and it goes on and on. Meeting planner, helpful, learned how to be light, bright, and polite. Thank you to all of you, and a shout out to you for rating, subscribing, and reviewing so we can reach more parents. All right, Andrea, let's talk a little bit about why we reached out to you. You have something called the Family Blackout Night. Tell us in layman's terms, what is the Family Blackout Night? How could we use this in our family, and what do we need to do to get started? And also, what are the benefits?
Yes. So I think every family, as I studied tech healthy families, one of the things that I found was that a tech healthy family knows how to take breaks from technology and spend time together. And our mission at Better Screen Time, and you'll see this on our website, the tagline is to worry less and connect more with your kids. And so that's always my goal, is not just about putting the device down, but it's about finding ways to actually connect with our kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's it right there. Worry less, connect more with your kids. So how do we do that? Because especially as we have older kids and teenagers, they're not always interested in connecting with us. So sometimes we have to get a little bit creative and find ways to do that. And when I was a kid, I grew up right by the Grand Tetons in a really small place, mountain town. And I remember the power going out. So growing up in the middle of nowhere, sometimes we would get these big storms that would come through in Idaho in the afternoon, and the power would go out and it would be dark. And I remember my mom would always get the exact same kerosene lantern out. My dad would light a fire in the fireplace. And I still have the memories of making shadow puppets on the wall and just really connecting as a family. And when, you think back to Laura Ingalls Wilder and those times when it just got dark, the family gathered, right? And they would gather in the same place because they all needed the same source of heat, right? The fireplace. And Pa would play his fiddle. And so it's just kind of that concept of trying to pull our family together. So I thought, okay, how can we recreate this? So we decided to do a family blackout night where we turn off all the lights, we pull out all the candles, the flashlights, the fairy lights, and put our devices away. Now, we use a charging station at our house to keep all our devices in one place, at nighttime and during dinner time. And so it's the same for the family blackout night. We put our devices away. But one kind of fun thing we do is I actually got my teenager to help me with this. And this is our blackout box. And it has a little slit on the top and then a big hole in the back so you can pull the ideas out. But my kids just got little slips of paper, and I set this out early in the week, and my teenager actually made invitations for everybody and slipped them under the door. So when they woke up, the first time we did it, I didn't tell anyone. So they woke up and they were like, "What's a blackout night?" And it just kind of created this anticipation and fun. And so then they saw the box. It said, "Go check out the blackout box." And so they started writing their little ideas. So this is like my 5-year-old. It just says play a game. Right? So it's on the box. It says write down a fun electronic free activity our family can do at home. So it's just anything you can do at home. And we've done everything from ghost stories to we did actually turn on some music and do a dance party. We did skits. We just did another one on Sunday night. We did some skits. My husband and I were our own little team. We broke up into teams, which we have a family of 7, so it's a little easier. But my husband and I were one team. We decided we were going to be cheerleaders. And so we did like give me a T, right? And we spelled out Team Davis. And so I actually got on my husband's back and like did the whole cheerleading pose, and we did the wave. And we were like, "Go Team Davis," because that's our last name. And honestly, like my kids would be mortified if anybody else saw that, but they loved it. Like even my teenager, they were laughing. They thought it was funny because we never do that, right? We're adults. We have to be responsible. We have to take care of everyone. And we're often looking at our own devices. And so it's just a super powerful way to get your family involved. And so I put all of that into a kit that families can download. We listed a bunch of ideas. We left some blank papers so your kids can write their own ideas. And so and you can get one of your kids involved in helping you actually plan the night out. And I think this is especially fun with like a teenager. And the first time we did it, I actually just had my teenager be in charge. And she wrote down all the snacks that everybody wanted to have. She knew what everybody's favorite snacks were. So I went to the store and we pulled those out, and it was just a party. And it was so great for me too, to spend that time away from my device. So yeah, we want to share that with as many families as we can.
Well, I just subscribed, and
Yay.
while we were on this video, and so and I'm going to share with everybody just a few tips here, and then I want to move on to kind of who this is best for. I'm hinting at our next thing we're going to talk about, but I want to talk to everybody about, I think I'm sharing the right screen, I'm pretty sure. Am I ready for a personal device from Better
Yes.
Screen Time? And and this is awesome, because what I'm loving about this is you're walking people through all of the questions they can ask their kids, a self-evaluation for teens. Let's talk about this for a sec. I think I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. But do I complete my homework without being asked? Still learning sometimes, almost always. This is amazing. And for those of you who are listening to this or watching this, you can click the link below and go to betterscreentime.com, and they will immediately send this to you. You just join their newsletter. Do I get up and get ready for school on my own? Still learning sometimes, almost always. This is powerful. Do I have good personal hygiene? Still learning sometimes, almost always. That's awesome. And I love the almost always. It's not like you have to be perfect. It's like, yeah,
Yes.
I'm really just striving to be the best I can. I love this.
Yes.
Am I
Yes.
responsible with my belongings? Oh my gosh, this is great. It's still learning sometimes. So you circle these, I'm assuming, right? You print this out.
So you give this to your teenager, and that's what a self-evaluation is, right? We're letting them self-evaluate, and then we discuss at the end, like, okay, are you ready, for a cell phone?
This is great. Yeah.
How this started actually was with a discussion with our kids, and we include this in our course, but we asked our kids 2 questions. We said, what does it mean to be responsible, and what does it mean to be emotionally mature? And from those 2 questions, our kids made a list. I didn't even talk to them about cell phones or anything. And they said, oh, well, you get up for school and you get ready on your own, and you take care of your stuff, you do your jobs, because our kids all know, right? What that means to be responsible. And if they're emotionally mature, they're able to talk to people face to face. They're able to mostly get along with their siblings or work things out.
Yeah.
And so it was that conversation that led to this.
That's great. Am I responsible with my belongings? Am I consistently kind to family members? That's great. Do I feel comfortable communicating with others face to face? This is great, because the students have to really answer this themselves. That's so great. Do I remember to do my chores on my own and do them without complaining? Wow, that's great. Am I able to have calm conversations with my parents about the proper use of technology? Wow, these are these are fantastic.
Thank you.
Am I okay with my parents knowing my passwords and checking in on my device as needed? That's a difficult one.
It is. Yes.
And that's a big one. And I'm really impressed that you have that one, because we 100% agree with all these, especially that one. Do I get off of family devices when asked and without getting upset? Just such a good one.
And that's where that emotional maturity comes in, right? Like, when we're emotionally mature, we're able to not, throw a fit, right?
Yeah. Emotionally mature and understanding who the parent is and that they want what's best for you. So true.
Yes.
Do I have self-control over my emotions when things don't go my way? So important. And that's a difficult one.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really difficult one for kids to say, yeah, that's great. Do I have a need for a personal device? Yes, or not yet. Do my parents feel that I'm ready? That's a powerful one right there. Yeah.
Yes. So that's the capstone, right? That's the last one. If the kids are flying through that and they're like, oh, I do all of these things, then, that gives us that opportunity to have a conversation about what we still need to work on.
Yeah. Remember, the goal isn't 100%, but rather for your child to answer almost always, most of the time on these answers. The evaluation was a product of an actual family strategy called the Family Think Tank. which you can learn more about at betterscreentime.com. Use this framework to create your personalized self-evaluation to fit your family's priorities and values. That is really awesome.
Thank you.
12 great questions to ask to see if your kids are ready. I love it because I got to tell you, I got an email this morning from an awesome person, and I'm going to include this in the podcast. I got an email because we have some courses that help parents better understand TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram. We have our Screentime Plan. It's a social media contract that I speak to the students in video and say, this is why you need to sign this. And a mom wrote us this morning and said, is it too late? My kid is 15 and a half. We gave him a phone. Is it too late for us to have these discussions? I feel like we didn't. I'm so angry that my husband and I didn't build this into our a social media contract, into our program, a screen time thing. And of course, the answer to everybody that's listening right now, it's never too late. That's like saying,
Yes.
Is it too late to eat healthy? Is it too late to teach my kid how to drive a car safely? I can't believe I gave them the keys to a car so early. No, it's never too late. You're protecting everyone around your child. You're protecting your child. You're protecting your family, your future, your Google results. Nobody's thinking about that. You could ruin your Google results as an adult, right? Andrea, your husband is an engineer, and he could, something that your teenager does could hurt his family name, right? For interviewing at a new company. So we always tell people, for those of you wondering, is it too late? It's never too late. It's going to be a very difficult parenting decision. And the right thing is never the easy thing, unfortunately, most of the time in life. And so we're here for you. Okay, so talk to us about we have the same goal in mind, the same people we speak with. When you set out for this, who did you find that is your target audience who you really are helping?
Yeah, well, I initially set out to help parents. In my mind, I thought, okay, I'm out to help parents, moms and dads, and maybe even grandparents that are helping a child. But when I started digging deeper and sending these messages out, it was the moms, it was the mothers that came back and said, how can I do this? How can I protect my family, really? Yeah.
And so you really, just like us, we're helping moms. Moms, if you're listening to this right now, educators, if you probably agree with us, moms are the safety captain of the family. Yes. They're the one that puts on that hat. The FBI is smart and everything, but nobody's smarter than a mom that goes, something doesn't feel right. My child is acting differently. And if your gut on the inside, we are so smart as humans. We can see things we didn't know we could see if we just listen to that. If your kid is getting quieter, if something as weird is going on, they don't want to share their phone. Please know that you have every right to do what you need to do to get to the bottom of it. And we are cheering for you. Andrea and I are cheering for you, rooting for you to do the best you can to protect your kids, because no one else, there's no app that's going to protect your kids like you will.
Right.
There is no, the school's an expert at this. Trust me, they're not. They're really not. There are no experts, right? Andrea and I are learning every day. There's leading learners that are here to provide solutions for you, but there are arguably no experts. There's an expert in the woodworking business because there's a new tool every 2 years that comes out, something new you can learn, but not in digital safety, not in social media, not in the amount of apps that come out every week. So parents, we're here for you. Moms, especially, we're rooting for you. We want you to have the resources you need, but it's going to be a difficult conversation. It really is. So grab those other moms, bring them around you, talk to the parents of your kids' best friends' parents, and wait a little longer on giving them that cell phone. Your kids will think you're making their life miserable, and maybe you are, but they'll thank you in the long run. All right, Andrea, how can we learn more about you, and what are some of the steps we can take to protect children?
Yes. So I would say one of our top recommendations is to create a family technology plan. And I know years ago, that seems so, I don't know, unnecessary. Maybe that's the right word, but I had heard that advice been given before.
Yeah.
So, right on our website, we have a quick start guide to kind of help you get started on creating that family technology plan.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, based on my experience, what I had done is I had gone out and done a lot of the research and presented a plan to my family
Mm-hmm.
and, with definitely some input from my husband and had that discussion. But I just got like glazed over looks for my kids. And
Mm-hmm.
why is mom like panicking so much about this? And because it was, it was after we had moved here and gone through that
Yeah.
smartphone issue. And so I was like, okay, there must be a better way. And I love reading from the latest thought leaders. And I just kept coming back to Simon Sinek's Start With Why.
Yeah.
And, Simon Sinek, he helps leaders, know how to lead. And that's starting with why. And as parents, we are leaders. And I think that sometimes we think, okay, well, if I'm leading, that means I'm telling people what to do.
Yeah.
Right. But really what great leaders do is they inspire people to take action. That's what
Yeah.
Simon Sinek teaches. And so
Yeah.
I saw instead, I need to involve my kids. They need to know why. I need to not just give them a set of rules and say, okay, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the foundation. But if you want to really dig deep, then, our next step is our course, Creating a Tech Healthy Family. And we, over the past year, we actually kind of opened and closed it. And with several successful launches and sharing it with people, we actually just opened it up this week for parents to jump in, and we're going to keep it open because I get so many requests for it so often. I couldn't keep up with the opening and the launching.
Yeah.
And so this is available. One thing that I found as well is that as parents, we have to model what we want to see, right? Be the change you want to see.
Yeah.
And so the very first section of our course is, changing your mindset. Like, how can I see this screen time problem as
Yeah.
an opportunity to connect with my kids? So that's where we're changing our mindset. And we're
love it.
talking about, being a leader in our home. How can you set up your environment? How can you set up your home so that it's conducive to connection with people and not just with devices?
Yeah.
And then I love habits. I've done a lot of habit research. So I include a lot of my favorite tips from people like James Clear and Charles Duhigg. And I talk about a lot of the habits that I personally have changed over the years. I think when our kids are younger, it's very easy to almost, quote, get away with things, get away with taking, the laptop into the bedroom and working until midnight or whatever that might look like. But, at some point, I think we all realize that that's affecting our relationships. It's affecting our sleep. And so I share that. And I just really want to help parents get those habits in place first. And then this next section is 10 must-have conversations for creating a tech healthy family. So how can we teach our kids to use tech as a tool? Which sounds like that's something that you're really great at, helping teenagers know how to do that. And then we help you form that family tech plan and talk about how and when to introduce a cell phone. And then we've put it all into MP3s because we know parents are busy. So if they don't want to take, have time to sit down and watch the video, which the videos are all brief, and I do that on purpose, then they can listen to the course. But these are all discussions, about pornography and all of these things that we know we need to talk to our kids about it. But as parents and as mothers, especially, we're so busy, we aren't always sure how to make that happen. And so that's why I put it in a course. The teacher in me just realized I needed to help more families with this.
It's so true. That's really terrific. So for those of you listening or watching, you can click the links below to learn more. This is terrific. I want to give you kind of last word. What's one more tip that you might have for parents if they're struggling, if they're wondering, okay, they're going to download your Getting Started guide. They know about your course. They can click on that, a better screen time. What's a tip that their kids are dying for these devices? They want to play Fortnite. They want to be on them all the time. What's one thing you would tell parents when they're up against this difficult decision of how to take the phone away from their child? Or should they just wait until they give their kids a phone to wait on this, right? I mean, let me just give the keys to the car to the kid, and then we'll teach them how to drive safe. Like, what would you see as a really big problem that you would want to tell parents?
Yes. Well, I always say to start with the relationship first.
Mm,
And I think that we're so hungry for quick fixes in this era of what's the best, I mean, there are things that are so helpful, the monitoring apps and the filters, and these things are very helpful. But I think that at the end of the day, if we are struggling in our relationship with our teenager or our child, there's no monitoring app or filter that's going to save that relationship.
hmm
And so something that I'm working on, with my own teenager is having these conversations, being available. Lisa Demore, she has this quote that I love, and she says, we just shared this with our community, but she says to be a potted plant, especially with our teenagers. So in being a potted plant, we're available. And if they want to interact with us, fine, but they don't always want to interact with us. But we're just there. And that means, putting our own devices down. And so I think just like Michael Hyatt always says, what gets scheduled gets done.
Yep.
And so if you really do, I think in our day and age, have to schedule this time with your kids. We try really hard to do one-on-one dates with our kids,
hmm
aside from, doing some of these device-free family rituals, but having one-on-one time with your kids, and also having rituals where it's device-free time. So with our younger kids, it's doing that story time, reading Harry Potter without your smartphone by your side. That's putting it in a different place. So I think that starts young. And then, when our teens and kids are in trouble, I think just trying to take one step back instead of having that knee-jerk response where we're super mad, we want to tear the phone out of their hands, or take it away altogether, or whatever it is. What would it look like if we could lead in love and try to just take one step back? And if that doesn't work, then maybe we take another step back. And I think just knowing that a little bit of pushback is normal and okay. Of course,
hmm
we don't want like so much pushback that we're destroying the relationship. So I think that is where it's tricky, and everyone's situation is different. But I always say save the relationship first.
I love it. Those are great tips. Thank you for your time today. For those of you listening or watching, I want to tell you about as well the next step at smartsocial.com. If you're wondering at all how to navigate TikTok, how to navigate Snapchat, Instagram, if you're about to give your kids a phone and you're wondering, well, what are the apps they're going to want to download? What are they going to want to do? We want to show you the hottest 3 apps, and we add a new course each month, actually every week. I've got a whole staff of people working on this. We've also got a video if you're wondering about, well, why would my kid ever want on their own to sign a social media agreement? We've got a whole course. It's $5 as of the time of this video. It's unbelievably affordable. And it walks the student through why you need to sign the two-page document that we provide for you. Also, we have 10 safety features every parent must set up on their kid's new iPhone to really water it down so that the 7 billion people around the world can't get access to your child. And then you can unlock features of the Ferrari so that it can drive a little faster, a little faster, a little faster. But we want to make the Ferrari more like a bicycle, point A to point B, but keep it safe. So it's very difficult to do. I will walk you through all of those features. It's a 35-minute step-by-step with me. You can pause it. We've also got a ransomware thing. Cybercrime is everywhere, how to keep your family safe. All these different things, including our summit and different steps and so on. We've got a ton of it. It's at smartsocial.com. You click on membership in the upper right, smartsocial.com. It's $100 a year to get access to all of our 30 courses. I've got a whole staff that all we do is work around the clock, keeping your family safe. You can also join our newsletter. Click the link below. If you like what we're doing here today, if you like what we've shared, please rate, subscribe, and review. We'll give you a shout out on one of the next podcasts. You can also call our hotline. We have a hotline at Smart Social. You can call us right now and leave a voice message, and we'll answer this on the next thing. The hotline is 310-928-7905. 310-928-7905. You can leave any questions about digital safety or frustrations that you have. We'll answer it on the next podcast or in the next newsletter. Andrea, I want to thank you for coming out here today. Thank you for your time. You're terrific. It's just an honor to have you protecting people all over the country.
Thank you, Josh. I love what you're doing. And it's awesome to see other people doing the same thing and know that we can work as a team to help parents.
I love it. I'm rooting for you. I'm your biggest
Same
fan.
here.
Thank you to everybody who's watching this today. Remember to keep it light, bright, and polite as the title of my book back there, because your kids are watching. So how you behave online and how you show up online and show up in the house is it's gonna make a difference in the long run. We'll see all of you very soon. Have a great day. Take care.